Welcome, and you'll hear me cough a little bit here and there. It's not because of the previous illness. It's just because just random throaty irritation-y, whatever, something dark side. Before we begin proper, what I need whoever's out there's help with is you need to tell me about the background music level compared to my voice level, because like I see I have my scales and whatnot, but it's always a bit different for everyone. So just as a general thingy, just let me know. Thank you D. Don't mind the potential occasional buffering. It's just, internets and YouTube's doing their thing. I'm still in the green in as far as OBS is concerned, so we're good. So what we're gonna do finally after I think it's been more than a week or so that I've been promising, that I've been scheduling and delaying this stream. I've been sick, so especially with a sore throat, very not conducive to healing if you talk a lot. So I decided to basically not do that at all. But what we do have is gonna be me going through and reacting to PC Gamer's top 100 PC games in 2024. Now, as you may or may not know, I play and cover exclusively PC games, so it should be I should be part of the mark for this particular list. However, I don't play new games. I have completely stopped playing new games a couple of years ago, actually, when I started pivoting my channel towards retro. Now, I play on occasion, I do play some new stuff, but it's new titles that I've been interested in before my pivot. As such, you'll still see me covering Battle Sector, because I just love Battle Sector, and so that's a new game which I will continue covering. And that's about it, basically. And I will occasionally stream stuff. Recently I've streamed Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon. Because again, I streamed it a while back, like last year. And I really enjoy it. So there is a few newer things that I do play, let's say, but not consistently. And it's not something that I will necessarily cover unless I find a retro angle to it. So the idea is, if there are new titles on the list, if there are very new titles on the list, let's say, I am completely oblivious of them and ignorant of them, in the sense that I don't know about them, nor do I want to know anything about them, because honestly, I do not care. I have made my choices and I prefer to play retro games. So we'll see. But let's first go through their introduction so that I understand where or how they're doing this. I have reacted previously to 3 of these lists. By far the best one was the retro gamer one, because retro games, which made sense. Then there was the Edge magazine one, which not great, and then GQ, which was complete shambles, as per expectancy. So this would be the 4th in this sort of series that I honestly enjoy doing. and might as well do it as a stream. So let's see what they're what they have to say basically. Because again, I'm going into the list cold. I only know from my friend Unicom that I might have fun, he said, and that's about it. That's about all I wanted to know about it. So yeah. Okay, so they started off like this. Like every year, I ask whoever you are, Phil Savage, I asked the PC Gamer team a question. What are the 100 best games on PC? Okay. It's a simple question, yeah, but the answering is complicated. So, months of work, votes, discussion, negotiations, and more than a few arguments, okay? So there is a shit ton of games on PC. Yeah, that's true. PC is the platform for it. This list then represents the passion of our global team of over 30 writers and editors. Some of them even may, okay, I don't care. They're sprinkling in some stuff for, like, you know, local color and whatnot. What does it mean to be one of the best games on PC? Is it the ones that stand out as most important and influential with lasting legacies that make them timeless? I'd argue yes. Is it those that have attracted vibrant and creative communities who run with an original idea and turn it into something more than the sum of its parts? Also yes. It's the games that we'd recommend today, a list of games that every PC gamer owes it to themselves to try out. Arguable. Or is it just the games that we, the PC Gamer team, loves? It's not this one. Is the and want to celebrate with the world? Nope. This is definitely not it. The other 3, 4, yeah, this one do. Ultimately, the top 100 is all these things. It shouldn't be the last one. And so our scoring system has been designed to take them all into account. Oh, goody. Let's see the scoring system. Ahead of the vote, PC Gamer team can freely nominate games. So 332 games made the long list. Each editor was then asked to rate those games across the 4 weighted categories that comprise our judging criteria. Okay, apparently we have some solid judging criteria. Let's see. So quality. How good is it? A purely personal rating of its caliber as a game. 60% of the top 100 score. Okay, so I enjoy the fact that they're mentioning its purely personal rating. This, I feel, is generally the most relevant part, the most, that's why it is 60%, I guess, of the score. When people talk about stuff, they only really actually talk about their perspective, their experience, and how they feel about that particular thing. And that's totally fine. But that's when people talk about it, when individuals talk about it, when you are in a situation or in a position where you talk about things, let's say from a not personal one-to-one point of view, like say what I do here on the net, on my channel. Your personal and subjective opinion and feelings are totally important and required to give you a base idea of what the thing is. However, you must also take into account, you know, context, history, impact, and how how that thing sort of got experienced by other people as well. Not in the sense of, critiquing those things, but acknowledging them. So quality, how good it is, one person's garbage is another person's treasure. Importance, how noteworthy is it? Its influence on other games and the wider world. 15% of top 100 score. Now, this is something that is fraught with problems instantaneously, because importance, much like quality, is, again, it's subjective in the sense of the importance of something, in our case a video game, is only is predicated on one's awareness of the thing and its context, and more important here, its history. And when I'm talking about the thing here is I'm talking about gaming, gaming in general, not the gaming industry, gaming as a phenomenon, gaming as a format of media, gaming as an entertainment, and also gaming as an art form. So the importance here is again very subjective, because what is important to me as an exclusively PC gamer for the past 30 plus years won't really ping on the radar of someone who was born after 2000 and has only experienced console games. Unless that person is really into this shit, like close to where I am into this shit, and it's interested in exploring the history and other formats and other platforms. But that's 98% of the people are not that person. Let's just be honest here. So what's important to me, it's gonna be something that basically someone after 2000 has never heard of, more or less. Even someone who's born earlier than that, and I can directly just point you to my Drakenzang video. Virtually unknown game outside of Europe, you know, maintaining proportional numbers and shit. A Scarlet Vorpal, nice. DOS is great, but so I'm just trying to make a point here that importance is as subjective as quality. So the scoring system is already fucking up. Hotness. How exciting is it? Its ability to retain a lively community that is excited and passionate about it. Okay, so this means that let's see, Anno 1404 needs to be here. VTMB needs to be here. Morrowind, you know, at least one of the older Elder Scrolls. It's your choice between Morrowind and Daggerfall. I'm gonna put my money on Morrowind. So hopefully when it's talking about hotness and exciting, they're not talking about recency. But with all of these lists, I don't know why I have an issue pronouncing list. With all of these lists, recency bias is possibly the biggest issue, and the second next issue beneath recency bias is US centrism. Again, I'll refer you back to my Drakenzang reference, and that's only where things can start. So the ability to retain a lively community that is excited and passionate about it, cool, that makes sense. I would argue here that the amount of time a title or a game maintains that lively community is way more important, whether or not whether it actually develops or retains a lively community. Because you know, Stark has been played for 25 years. It's not really on the same sort of level with just insert any video game from the past 5 years. It's just not, it cannot be, it's just not the same thing, because one's been around and again actively retaining and creating community, which is excited and passionate about it, for 25 years. The other one maybe 5 years, maybe. So whilst I appreciate the definition and you know, the concept behind this, again, I would make it a bit more granular. Now, playability. How playable is it? Its accessibility to modern audiences and a measure of how easy it is to get running on modern systems. 10% of the... Okay, so this one, this makes me hope that there is a lot of older games on this list. Because as someone who is doing their darnest, let's say, to review and cover older games, I can tell you getting them to, well, not necessarily getting them to run on modern, although that can be an issue, getting them to run on Windows 10, maybe even earlier ones. That can be an issue. However, thanks to things like GOG, and you know, the occasional fan patch and whatnot, you can get most, maybe not most, but a lot of the more longer lived stuff to run. Now, getting them to stream, that's a whole other issue. It is trying to get older games to stream is a shit show. For instance, I wanted to stream Seven Kingdoms, but I haven't found a way yet of getting that to actually work. So yeah, the playability thing is also valid because and I kind of make a point of this on occasion when it's really relevant, although I stress it much more when things aren't that playable. For instance, relatively recently, the Dune 2 video. Dune 2 is a great, seminal, crucially important game. Like, if we're talking about importance, yeah, Dune 2 is up there. However, by its very nature of being arguably the first in what will become the RTS genre, there's some stuff in it that's we've gone past that. Technology, and has developed beyond a particular thing, and it's small things like, you know, drag selection and right clicking and stuff like that. So as I make the point in that video, it's super important to play Dune 2 as close to its original version as possible, especially if you're into RTSs or into gaming history and whatnot, just to get a sense, to get an actual live sense of what it was and is. It's not something I'd suggest nowadays to anyone really to play. There's a bunch of fan-made remakes, sort of recombobulations of Dune that introduce the, you know, what would become standard later on, you know, like having a build list, a build order, that sort of stuff. So from that perspective, it's important. It's very crucial. Likewise, I got a fair bit of shit in my Fate of Atlantis video, where although 95% of the video I just explain how awesome the game is, I have this thing about hating maze puzzles, and that game is littered with them. And my point is, it was fine for the time, but modern sort of audiences, or even modern expectations, because I'm not modern audience. I've been playing PC games since arguably the time of Fate of Atlantis, but modern expectations, you know, make some things not cool, basically, not as acceptable. And there is a list, there is a limit. There's a thing I say, like, a bunch of retro stuff is great. A bunch of retro stuff should just stay in the past. There's reasons for why we're past some of that stuff, or we've left some of that stuff in the rear view. Not all of it, mind you, but again, not all of it is great. And I think that is something that is oftentimes, you know, overlooked on purpose, just by saying, oh, you had to be there, or it was a thing, or oh, young people do this and that. No, some old shit sucks. Like, it's just not good. We've just found better ways of doing that thing that don't take anything away from the underlying thing. It just makes it less shitty. Anywho, so the way things are a function of the top 100 as an annual list. Too much weight to importance and the list is stagnant. Too much hotness and there's little consistency year to year. Ultimately, quality is the biggest factor. So basically, your own opinion. Above all else, we're recommending games we wholeheartedly think you should play. Okay. The sum of each game's ratings is then divided by each voter and blah, 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 blah. Okay, fair enough. So what I'm getting from their scoring system is basically the stuff we remember / we really liked, which is fair enough. They could have just said that. But the thing, the idea is, while I said, and I stick by the thing that it is important to be acutely aware that one's the majority of one's opinion on something is deeply subjective. This also makes one biased towards recent things. Again, depending on one's age and a bunch of other factors. So that's why it's nice that they tried to come up with like a scoring system. The scoring system sort of sounds okay. I have this strange feeling that they're not gonna keep to it. So yeah, but we'll see. Once the top 100 score for all games has been calculated, we order the list from highest to lowest, and we're going we'll usually include, we'll usually only allow one game per series. Okay, good. This I like, because I don't want to see 30 Marios and Zeldas again. Like, fucking pick one or maybe two from different eras, like one from the 80s, one from the 90s, one from the 20s, and just be done with it. Oh, wait. We'll only include multiple if we feel the games are different enough from each other to be worth mentioning both. For instance, Doom 93 and Doom Eternal. I guess that's an example of them being mentioned both because they're different. Okay. Otherwise, the lower scoring game is removed from the list. Okay, so this is how I was just saying. So this is basically how they buy themselves 30 Zeldas again. Anyway, for the final step, every voter gets the opportunity to pitch for one change to the list, either promoting a game higher or demoting it lower. These pitches are then voted down by... This is why a game like XCOM 2 is placed higher than its top 100 score would suggest. Where that happen? Okay, let me get this. Let me... So it's a negotiation of sorts. Okay. I mean, I like the thought behind this. I like the sentiment. I approve the sentiment. I doubt it's gonna be applied or executed properly. Only time will tell. So what I don't want to see is basically anything. So no, let's just paint with a broad brush here. If there's any game on this list that was released in the past 5 years, it shouldn't be here. That's just a full stop as far as I'm concerned, because again, in the past 5 years, it's impossible to tell how influential the game is or was, nor is it really clear about it retaining a lively community. And I have the perfect example for this. If you remember, I also got some shit on one of the older videos, because I was like about Elden Ring. I was like, why is this top 5? It was just released. And there were people in the comments saying, oh, Elden Ring, it's awesome, it's fun. Who's talking about Elden Ring? Has anyone seen any piece in any part of the sort of any amount of gaming community mainstream or bubble that talks about how dope Elden Ring is anymore? Because I sure as shit haven't. So that's why if it's released in the last 5 years, not only will I not know it, I don't think it should be there. Because again, it basically violates two. It couldn't be there because 30% of its score should be 0, as far as I'm concerned, based on their scoring system. So let's see. 100 Valheim. Oh, okay, released 2021. Yay. So apparently my strictness is goes out the window as we start. This is gonna be good. Valheim, despite its recency, I am aware of it, and the only true reason why I am aware of it is because a Danish YouTuber friend of mine, did a couple of shorts on it. So yeah, I don't know if I should spend any time reading anything about these newer games, because again, like I said earlier, not only do I not care about them, I don't even want or need to know anything about them. Like Valheim, from what I understand, is a pretty fun game, but you should only really be eligible to go on any top 100 list of the best PC games after you've been around for a while. And 3 years, and not even, apparently was released in early access in February of 2021. I don't know if it's been fully released in the meanwhile, but 3 years isn't nearly enough. There's been games that have been in early access for longer than 3 years. Anyway, we're off to a shitty start. Guild Wars 2. Now, this I am okay with being in a top 100. I know I scrolled down, but I didn't look at it. Whilst even though I didn't play any of the Guild Wars, I know I've been around for long enough, and within the MMO sort of circles, to have heard of it, to know that people are in war, especially war. Maybe now maybe a bit less, but this was big for a ton of time. Says it's been 12 years. That's a good amount of time. Guild Wars is still quietly revolutionary vision on a no subscription, no phone, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, no, Guild Wars 2, yeah, it's fine. It's a good one. Oh shit, okay, so we do have some older games. Okay. It started poorly, but it's leveling out. City of Heroes Homecoming. Now, City of Heroes is one of those games you don't really oftentimes see mentioned. I don't even know if I think I played it a bit, I'm pretty sure, but only a little bit. So it's nice, it's interesting they went with 2 MMOs, but MMOs were big in the 2000s. In the 2000s, actually, MMOs were much bigger in the 2000s than in the 2010s. That was the new technology. Dave the Diver from 2023. I'm just don't care. Oh, okay, we have VTMB already. 96. I completely disagree with VTMB being on 96. Like, remember when I said when I talked about importance and hotness? It was definitely incredibly important due to its influence. It's super duper important due to its community. The game wouldn't be playable without its community. And it is playable and accessible to everyone. So VTMB being on 96, I'm glad it's on the list. It should have been on the list anyway, but this starts to feel like that one list that had StarCraft on 98 or 96. I mean, VTMB... maybe at the very worst you would put it in the top 20. I'd maybe probably put it somewhere in the top 10. But then again, I'm an exclusively PC gamer and an RPG player. RPG and general strategy player, especially. So, yeah, I am biased towards those things, but oof. Okay, let's see what they have to say about it. People assume you had to have played Troika's Modern Day Vampire RPG when it was new to love it. No, actually, that's incorrect. The game got way bigger, way better long after it was released. So, Jody McGregor, you just lose from the first. From that first line, I know you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So I'm not gonna read the rest. But I've never been through Bloodlines twice. I know people who have played the game at least 20 plus times. So, yeah. Interview with a Vampire is hot again all of a sudden. What? Which makes now the perfect time to go around shouting about this being the best vampire game and the closest thing to a steamy and Rise novel in RPG form. Yeah, unfortunately, this kind of tends to work if there's something, you know, popular, hyped up in the general mainstream / zeitgeist. That can help spread the message about older things that people haven't heard about. Okay, 90. I mean, I will wait to see what it is in the what we have in the top 10 if VTMB is 90 fucking 6. Star Wars KOTOR 2. This is both of these. You'd think I had played number one because they're RPGs, number two because it's Star Wars, and you know I'm a sci-fi fantasy geek. I am extra weird because as far as I'm concerned, for me, you know, I was never really interested in Star Wars in anything beyond the major movies. I haven't really watched any of the TV shows, not even the Clone Wars or whatever the fuck. It's just no interest really. But I have friends who play them, and I know a bunch of other people who play them and really enjoy them and love them. And I don't know if they will be super happy with it being on 95. Oh, shit. Dragon Age Origins on 94. I may have some thoughts about this. I may have some thoughts about this because I have recently played it. I've recently played through the first part of it to capture footage for my Dark Fantasy RPG list. And if you've seen that video or not, in case you haven't, check it out now. I'll wait. I started that list with Dragon Age Origins for a very valid reason. I am acutely aware that this was a lot of people's first. Dragon Age Origins was a lot of people's first RPG. Regardless on what console they played it or platform they played it. Again, I'm talking about PC because that's my thing. But I have met these younger people, and I know it is important through that perspective. I played it at release. I have an actual physical button now to mute my mic so I can burp off mic, which is just what happened. So I played it at release. I played the expansion at release as well. Finished it back then. I really enjoyed it. I even have, this was so long ago, 2009 or 10. I even have some a webcomic I did joke for it or about it. This was back in the before YouTube times when most of us were trying to have, like websites or blogs, review blogs. And I thought for a while that I thought I could actually draw a webcomic. So that's why it is. But let's see why only 94. Because again, I'm pretty sure a lot of people would have placed it. A lot of, let's say, younger people than myself would have placed this much higher. For me, and I'm sure other PC gamers on one, Origins is still the definitive Dragon Age experience. Well, I guess it's true because I've never played any of the other ones because they didn't interest me at release. And it's easy to see why. 3D CRPG experience that remains true to the legendary 2.5D classics that founded the genre, such as Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale, and Planescape Torment. We're gonna go with that. Kinda, let's say. I wouldn't really lump it with those titles necessarily. Not in this sense, at least. Anyway, not only do you have old school full fat combat and character specking systems, but also incredible NPC characters. Yeah, writing. Wait. What does old school full fat combat system imply? Also character specking. I mean, this is 2009. Neither of those things were innovations, really. Neither for the genre nor for the time. So, I like, compared to what is the question. What is it? What's old school full combat, full fat combat and character specking as opposed to question mark? But also incredible NPC characters, I guess. The world building is second to none too, with incredibly rich in-game lore that knits the world of Thedas and the Fate together wonderfully. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, imbuing it with a reality unmatched in lesser titles. Jesus. Okay. Mature. That's a bit extra. Mature, complex fantasy RPG then, and one that refuses to treat gamers as children. Okay. As such, remains a fantastic gaming experience today in 2024 and one of PC gaming's greatest ever fantasy RPGs. Let's chillax there for a second, buddy. Robert Jones, print editor. Let's hit the brakes on that one. It's a great fantasy RPG on PC. I don't know if it's PC gaming's greatest. I don't know if it's one of PC gaming's greatest. It's a great one. I don't know if it's greatest. Let's see, whatever. Every single companion character in is a complete home run. Oh, well, Jesus. A feat that BioWare hasn't pulled off. Okay, fair enough. Also, you get a dog that can tank for you. What's not to love? It's fair enough. I guess fair enough. I love dogs, so it is what it is. Origins was such a watershed moment for the genre, combining the glossy cinematic feel of big budget action games with an unapologetically deep and expansive RPG experience. Again, like in comparison to what? You don't get to Baldur's Gate 3 without this game laying the groundwork. I mean, fair enough, but I'd argue you don't get to Baldur's Gate 3 without the entire Divinity series, much more so than Dragon Age Origins. But again, deep and expansive RPG experience compared to what? I think this is an issue with writing and in general, because you can just say random shit without arguing for why you're saying the random shit. When you go to well, it depends. I don't know who the fuck Robert Jones is. He's a print editor, so whatever. Again, I'm not saying the game is not good or even great. Like I said, it's a great game. It's not one of PC gaming's greatest fantasy RPG games. Like let's chillax there for a let's put the brakes on that one. Like it shouldn't be a 94 either. It should be higher for sure, but it should be lower than Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, definitely. So thin ice. You're already on thin ice top 100. Left 4 Dead 2. Left 4 Dead 2. Okay. Why 2? Oh, because it influenced Vermintide 2 and Darktide, which again, they're titles that aren't. I mean, I guess they are played, but only by fairly niche communities. I would have argued Left 4 Dead 1 was maybe way more impactful, but you know, I might have. I'm pretty sure I skipped Left 4 Dead 2 more or less. I wasn't into the shooty part necessarily at that point in time. So okay, interesting. Okay, I don't know. Ghost of Tsushima 2024, I don't care. Dead Cells 2018. Now, Dead Cells is much closer to it. It's beyond the 5-year sort of limit I impose on it. And whilst I didn't play it, I know a lot of people who did, and they enjoyed it. And I also remember reading quite a bit about it. And I'm pretty sure people still rock it on various mobile platforms. I think it's on the Switch, I'm not sure. So this can be on the list as far as I'm concerned, because it's at least 5 years old. Hey, Unicom, thanks. So we're gonna go with that. It's okay. Oh no, it's a Steam Deck apparently as well. Okay, so maybe it's not on the Switch, maybe it's on the Steam Deck. I don't know. Maybe it's on both. Yeah, this is fine. I don't really mind this being here. I think it's a pretty legit sort of choice. Again, VTMB shouldn't be on 96. Anyway, Outer Wilds, 2019. You know, just barely making the 5-year limit. This is, I think I remember a podcast episode, a Game Tales episode with Unicom back then, because these were already like 5 or 6 or even 7 years old when we used to do that. And I think I mentioned that Outer Wilds is gonna be it's gonna be a difficult sell because it sounds too much like Outer Worlds. And apparently Outer Wilds, despite because again, both myself and Unicom are pretty big RPG players and big fans of Fallout and whatnot, and Obsidians. So I always thought the Outer Worlds will be the one that gets more time in the sun, let's say, more of a reputation, but apparently it didn't. Apparently Outer Wilds was the winner between the Wilds Worlds sort of verses. So I didn't play this, I don't know, but it's been one of those titles that despite its recency has been popping up on occasion in various listicles that I also make. So I know something about it, but in the sense of the name has popped up much more often than the Outer Worlds has in the past 5 years. So I guess that's it for that's a good point for its influence or staying power, or whatever it is. I would have called it staying power. Maybe I should make a list just with like top 100 or something. Okay, 100 is a lot. Top something, but you know, in as far as staying power is concerned. 89, Death Stranding from 2022, 2 years old, I don't care. Pentiment, also 2 years old, also I don't care. Case of the Golden Idol, 2 years old, I don't care. Ultra Kill, 4 years old, I don't care, although looks cute. Destiny 2, 2017. Why is Destiny 2 here? We're all still playing it, right? I've never played Destiny. None of the Destiny is not my type of game. Sure, I get it, but what? Who still plays Destiny? Who, or Destiny 2, I guess. Oh, apparently there was maybe a recent sort of expansion or update that made it cooler, I guess. Which is nice to see an older game get resurrected thanks to like a mechanics changing sort of expansion or something like that. I'm getting the sense that that's what this is about, which is fair enough, I guess. Inside 2016 is this? Yeah, I think this was during that period of the really super dark sort of adventure games. Man, I love my button. I can mute myself when I cough. You know, it was this. Although I may be thinking of older stuff. It was this. It was Braid. Although Braid was older, I'm pretty sure. Was there something called Vertigo or something like that, or was it anyway? Yeah, I guess maybe. It's not necessarily something that I played, but maybe. There was definitely a period of time back then when Limbo. No, I'm thinking of Limbo. That's what it was. So, you know. Sid Meier is Civ 5. Okay. Oh, it's sure Civ 6 is okay and all that jazz, and Civ 4 is pretty good, but number 5, do you know? Are you aware there's earlier numbers than 4, buddy? Nick, you know how we tend to count in base 10 system? That's it. It so happens that I also played Civilization 5, and I actually know it's a good civilization. Now, as per their earlier example of Doom 93 and Doom Eternal being on the same list because they're different, I guess, you know, because they are 20, 30 years apart. Does this mean we'll get to see Civilization 2 later on the list? Because it was, you know, 2D and pixel art and different than the 3D hex grid one? I doubt it. Hotline Miami. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was this was really big for a pretty long amount of time, especially because it was indie. So yeah, I never played it. Not my type of stuff necessarily, despite it being pixel art and whatnot. But and synth wavy. But I guess it's fine to be on the list. Kentucky Route Zero. Now this one I have never heard of. What is this? A man, a dog, a truck, a delivery to make fate skulking, sweaty, slow drift along a mystical highway cutting through the heartland of America. Okay. So is it like this is cute and all and flowery language and whatnot, prose. It kind of strikes me again, the issue with apparently modern day writing is that you are writing to an audience that already knows what you're talking about, which is, I mean, okay. It talks a lot about what the game sort of does, but it doesn't really give someone who isn't part of the already known knowledgeable audience anything to grapple onto. It says nothing about the genre. Is it an adventure game? Is it not an adventure game? Is it a puzzle game? Is it an adventure puzzle game? Is it, what people used to, shittily call walking simulator, although they're basically narrative. Interactive. Is it an interactive narrative game? None of that shit. And these people get paid for this. The stuff I do on YouTube, people bitch and moan about ads and whatnot, and these fuckers get paid to write vaguely obscure shit that only a very niche amount of people understand what it is about. I try to make I write for a niche as well. I address my stuff to a niche as well, but I try to make it at least somewhat palatable and introductory to people who are new to the thing. Not Andy Chalk. Okay. Caves of Cud or Cood or Cud. I don't know how you're supposed to read that one. I remember reading something about this. I did not play it. This came during the mid 2015s, 2010s, during the roguelike glut of stuff. So I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of them. For instance, there's something I played that I enjoyed that isn't really talked about. It's called Hack. It's HAQUE, which has some very funny things. So there's a bunch of these that I can just mention, and maybe some people have heard of it, maybe the community has heard of it, maybe not. Baldur's Gate DOS. Okay. It's fair enough. It's legendary. It's up there. Yeah. Wait a minute. Baldur's Gate 2 remained the fantasy CRPG of all time until Larian Studios went ahead and made its genre. I understand needing to write, bombastic shit, but it seems that there is a deep lack of decency in the sense of there's other stuff out there that you may not have heard of that some people like more, and you'd be surprised of how many those people actually are. I'm just talking from well, I'm not just talking from my perspective, but it is partially from my perspective because I was never, despite me being a fan of RPGs and CRPGs and fantasy RPGs especially, I never got into Baldur's Gates, into none of them, because I did not gel with the combat. I will always prefer turn-based combat, period, basically. And, real time with pause, ugh. Or, wait for orders, as Josh Sawyer would call it generally. That can work. The system, I have seen implementations of the system that I accept, much like the one in Tyranny. Likewise, sort of similar, Neverwinter Nights, which, just to give you an idea of what I've been doing lately, that you won't see any proof of for like half a year or so. But the combat in Baldur's Gate 1 or 2, I didn't like. I tried it several times, trust me, because I wanted to play the fucking things. But yeah, no. So again, I'm not saying it's not one of the seminal sort of titles, one of the most important titles, sure. And about the fantasy, I like to not say the when there's so much stuff out there, unless it's one of the best, and even there, arguable. Let's see, memorable writing and characters, yeah, that's true and fine. Every entry in the series is unalloyed gold. Okay, apparently we're in search of all kinds of comparisons or metaphors that sound good but make fuck all sense. The reason why gold is alloyed? Because it's soft as shit in its purest of forms. Gold, if it's not alloyed with something, at least, to a certain degree, is basically it's almost as malleable as putty. Can't really do shit with it, except keep it as its intrinsic value. But if you want to use it, for like, I don't know, a CPU or some such nonsense, you have to alloy it. So trying to do something but failed due to lack of knowledge of material science, I guess. Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon. I understand none of those words. I know what the core is, I know what armored is, I know what fire is, and what the Rubicon is supposed to be. But those words in that order, I have no clue what they are. Also, it's 2023, it gets jettisoned automatically. Deep Rock Galactic, same. Deep Rock Galactic, maybe in a couple of years. Dishonored 2. Okay, now this is something that needs to be in contention for one of these lists. Again, not something I played, but I know a lot of people played it, and a lot of people enjoyed this one as well as the previous one. The issue I generally had with these sort of games was that although they did what they did well, it was never really what I was looking for. Which is why I sort of kind of enjoy Tainted Grail, because even if that's not exactly what I'm going towards or what I super duper want, it's pretty close. It's sort of close. It gives it's a semi fresh, let's say, different type of approach. Very Morrowind like, but again, like a modernier version of Morrowind to a certain degree. Like we need to maintain perspective here. Chivalry 2, 2022, me no care. Max Payne. Okay, so yes. Okay, good. I got nothing. This one, Max Payne has to be here. I got nothing on it. That's fine. Papers, Please, 2013. Now, in as far as, first of all, this game's really old by now. I never played it, but Papers, Please should be on the list, not necessarily just because it's it's a really good, dope indie game that came out during the the indie game crowdfunding explosion of the early 2010s, but also because of the how much it basically crystallized game streaming subculture, more or less. So that's nice. I'm gonna need a few minutes of a tiny break. I need to blow my nose and I need to get something to drink. BRB. Back. I was just thinking, I wonder if StarCraft is actually on this list. Because if it's not, ooh, boy. Okay, Cyberpunk 2075. This was released in 2020. Okay, forgot. It's not been 5 years, so yeah. Alien Isolation. Okay, I remember this one. Again, not because I played it, just because I've been plugged into gaming stuff forever, basically. Should it have been be here? I don't know. I actually don't know. I understand it was cool and great experience and whatnot, but I don't know if it deserved necessarily to be on this list. The lady in the poster next to the cupboard above you. Oh, that? That's Sailor Moon. Strange Horticulture 2020. This is one I haven't heard of, but also it's 2020, so thankfully I can ignore it. Signalis 2022. Ignore. Titanfall 2. Why in the ever-loving ass is Titanfall 2 here? Who cared that much? Even back then, who gave that much of a shit about Titanfall 2? This is one I don't get, so, Yeah, but is it good enough for a top 100 PC games list on 68 and VTMB is on 96 Unicom? I doubt it. I honestly doubt it. Monster Hunter World. Maybe. Not necessarily the type of stuff I play, although I might have enjoyed it. But the thing is, I generally associate these games with consoles. I understand in the past, like half to a decade, a lot of stuff is cross-platform, but I wouldn't associate this with PC gaming. It's on PC. That's obviously, I hope it's on PC, because otherwise it shouldn't be here. But maybe that's where I'm showing my sort of biases, because I don't really consider these necessarily PC games per se. But fair enough, I guess. Kerbal Space Program. Now, this is what I would much more associate with a PC game. I know Unicom played this a fair bit. I don't know if it was this one or the sequel, but yeah, it's a great, from what I understand, it's a really fun sort of way of engaging with literal rocket science. So yeah, that's fine. Rust. Rust, again, not something I've played. I have friends who played a lot of Rust, and you know, just living vicariously through them. Yeah, it's I guess. I mean, I think better Rust than most of the other battle royales that I actually spend time in. So yeah. Kerbal 2 is canned. Oh no. Oh no. I didn't know that, Unicom. I'm sad for you, because I know you enjoy those things. Diablo 2. Does that mean the Diablo 1 is later on, because they're really different? I doubt it. Look, if you're gonna choose one Diablo, go with Diablo 2. That's totally valid. I just made an entire... basically, it's a theory craft video on the first Diablo, or I shouldn't even call it the first Diablo, I just call it Diablo. This is because the Diablo series is one of those cases where you can, you know how, so tangent, you know how a lot of people think that basically the Fallout series started with Fallout 3, despite it having a 3 in front of it, just because that's when, you know, Bethesda got it and it went mainstream and it was on consoles and shit like that. Well, that same thing but reversed, like the polar opposite, that I argue is applicable to the Diablo series, in the sense that, and this is what I do in my video, is I ignore everything that happened after Diablo. I just look at Diablo as its own game, and then you can look at the rest of the series as a series. It starts with Diablo 2. Because if you really think about it, if you really think about it, you don't need to know what happened in Diablo 1. You don't need to have played necessarily Diablo 1 in order to jump into Diablo 2 and enjoy it. Which, you know, now that I say it out loud, yes, of course, this should be valid for all sequels. However, I'm talking from a narrative perspective. Because, and this is true up until this day, I know of people who have played Diablo 2 who have fuck all idea of what the actual story of Diablo 2 is. Or of Diablo 1, or of Diablo 3. And I doubt they got to Diablo 4. I didn't get to Diablo 4. I don't care about Diablo 4. So, in terms of impact and importance and general awesomeness and, you know, gameplay-ness, yes, you go with Diablo 2. This is the GOAT Diablo, the Diablo GOAT. But in terms of like potential and atmosphere, yeah, the Diablo is where it's at. Resident Evil 4 remake. It's from 2023. However, it's Resident 4. It's Resident Evil 4. The original is older. I don't know if the original was on PC though, so it's arguable. But you know, again, not necessarily my type of game, but I know it's a lot of people's type of game. Near, I don't know, Automata. Again, the type of game I would generally associate with consoles. Though I think I researched it once and it is also on PC, so it's fair enough, I guess. Yeah, the types of game, this type of game, really never, really not my thing. Whether it's a Souls-like or just an adventure, hacky slashy sort of title. It's the Souls-like experience is a hard sell for yours truly. That said, I did play and finish Mortal Shell, and I enjoyed that. So, you know, TF2. Again, whilst I never played TF2, I know Unicom played the shit ton of it, and he wasn't the only one. So yeah, definitely needs to be on the list. System Shock remake. I mean, sure, it's new, but technically the original is much older. And from my understanding, the remake mostly just modernizes a bunch of stuff. And to be honest, having played at least a little bit of the original, yeah, there's some stuff that, as I was saying at the beginning, there is some stuff that should have stayed in the past. Unavowed, never heard of this. Although at least Robin over here explains it's a classic point-and-click adventure with BioWare style companions. Why is it BioWare style? Why isn't it? What does BioWare style mean? Is it just, you know, characters you can talk to and develop relationships with? Because BioWare didn't invent that, you know? Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard of this one. And it's odd because in 2018, I was still very much into covering indies and whatnot. So it's a bit odd that I didn't hear about it. But again, not necessarily, I'm not an authority. I was a semi-authority, let's say, in some degree, in some niches of indies. Fortnite, unfortunately. Morrowind. Okay, so there is Morrowind. So I was right. Morrowind is on here. Look, it's Morrowind. There is no, I don't. Whilst I haven't directly played it, I have heard from people who have played it, and I have watched videos about it, and I know I don't need to play it in order to get it, as it were. Just through the perspective, just through the sheer fact of me playing many other RPGs around it. That said, Tainted Grail, somewhat Morrowind-like. So I think there is someone. I think there is a. I'm not sure. Correct me. I think there's ways of updating either the graphics, or there's like a big sort of remake or fan remake or something for Morrowind. I'm not sure. I know there's Daggerfall Unity. I know that. But I think Morrowind has some modernizable sort of things as well. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. Well, while not exactly what I played or what I played generally, I know again, popular game with a lot of people. Can't say I've played everything. I've played a lot, but you know, mostly in particular niches. The Binding of Isaac. No, Rebirth. Isaac. What's the correct pronunciation? It escapes me. Rebirth. Again, this was in that time span, part of the gaming streaming sort of birth of the phenomenon. Not the type of stuff I normally play, but you know, I'm not gonna stand in front of anyone else's appreciation of it. Warhammer Vermintide 2. Okay, this game being mentioned earlier, and now that it's on the list, makes me think maybe maybe this game is way more popular than I think it is. Though I don't know how much that actually is. I need to look. You know what? Just give me a sec. This should be on Steam, right? Let's see. Well, on Steam it has like 345 recent reviews, which, you know, for something this large, maybe I don't think it's that big, but you know, possible. Oh, it does seem though that it is actually more popular than I thought, because I have 9 Steam friends that already own it. Okay. Own it, but not necessarily played it. So there's that. I got nothing. Despite my appreciation for Warhammer, but Warhammer 40k in particular, not really. Not really something that interested me. So it's a bit weird to see this here. Just putting it out there. But again, maybe it is way more popular than I think it is, because again, I haven't read or seen it mentioned in literal years. So, you know, take that as it were. Control 2020. Wildermyth 2021. Now, I am surprised to see this here, because I covered it when it was in early access, but since it's 2021, we'll have to skip it. Spelunky. Yeah, I think it was pretty good, pretty big at the time. Now, I don't know if it's, I don't know. I think there is arguably several better PC games out there. Yeah, although this is 2013, so it's arguably old. It's arguably old by now. It's not something I would cover. For me to cover it, it needs to be at the latest 2010. But Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of shit that could have been instead of Spelunky, as far as I'm concerned, at least. Hitman World of Assassination. Oh, I think this is the one Unicom was saying is pretty dope. I've never played any of the Hitman games because, again, not the type of stuff that interests me. But thankfully, it's 2022, so I can skip it. Yay! Citizen Sleeper. Surprised to see this here. It's new, but I know of it because this was still back during my indie interests, during my indie phase that lasted for like basically, I don't know, 7 years. And because it's mainly an interactive narrative RPG. Doom Eternal 2020, not Kerry. Frostpunk 2018, okay. Now I played a fair bit of Frostpunk. I have a video on Frostpunk. Unfortunately, I won't play the sequel because it's new and I stopped playing new games. But let's see why they have it. One of the most atmospheric games I've ever played. Impressive for a city builder. That's not impressive for a city builder. You haven't played enough city builders, obviously, Sean. Whenever I recall it, I can't help but transform into a grizzled Victorian. You should have said neo-Victorian, recounting how he survived the Great Storm by eating his shoe. Again, trying to be cutesy, failing miserably at it. Easily the most fun I've had accidentally letting Victorian urchins freeze to death. I'm sorry, urchin. That can happen a lot. It's amazing what you can talk yourself into when you're facing yeah, this last one, Christopher Livingston talking about. Yeah, though the game is much more about how low are you willing to go. Where is the line you draw between the survival of humanity, of the human species, and it's basically the difference between the human species and humanity. If you see where I'm going with this. And if you don't see where I'm going with this, don't watch my videos. Into the Breach. Oddly enough, another game I covered. Not oddly enough, the video didn't do it didn't do shit. Despite, you know, my passion for the game and whatnot. Let me think about it. The Breach. It's definitely ever playable. It's definitely an ever playable puzzle game. Let's say it is a puzzle game to a certain degree. Well, Unicom, I'm glad to hear that because at the very least, his paragraph makes sense. The Sean's doesn't. Too cute by half, but not really. But Into the Breach, yeah, Into the Breach is one of those, you'd call them like lunchtime games, which you definitely can just get in and get out a little fast. And if you enjoy the experience it offers, it is very replayable. Into the Breach is chess against monsters. I call it kaiju chess. Only you choose whether your chess pieces have big guns, laser waves, or cleverer weapons that trick kaiju into killing each other. Yeah, that's a valid, quick description. Yeah, no, definitely. Now, the question I have, and it's not really a question, but it's just a thought. A thought I think is, will we be talking really mentioning Into the Breach in, like in 2028 when it's 10 years old? Can't really be sure about that. I hope we do, because again, personally, I do believe and I do think it's definitely worth being on one of these top 100 lists, despite its relatively young age. But I don't know. I really don't know, because you can't really see what's gonna happen. But I would like for that to happen, to be honest. GTA 5. Why 5? Just because it was super popular? And on consoles also, I guess. I mean, the other ones were on console. I didn't play GTA past San Andreas. So I have no real... There's no I have no commonality with any of the GTAs after San Andreas, to be honest, for a variety of reasons. So I guess they went with 5 because it was, super duper crazy popular, and it was. Can't argue that point. Not the GTA title I would feature on my list. Let's just put it like that. Deus Ex. Okay, I'm glad Deus Ex is here. A lot can be said about the game, which also I haven't played. Again, don't at me. There's a lot of older classic games I haven't played, and that's why I focus now. And I have made the conscious decision to basically not play anything new and only focus on old stuff, because I want to play games that I either wanted to play when I was younger and or when they came out, or I never got around to finishing them back then. Deus Ex is somewhere on that list. I don't know when it is on the list, but I can point to a bunch of videos I made that I could have only made because of this focus on older games and finishing them. Drakensang being one of them, of course. But more recently, Painkiller. I never got to actually finishing Painkiller back when it was released. I finished it now. It's great. The game works, still works. Yeah, I wonder if Painkiller's on the list. I doubt it is, but Deus Ex, yes, super great game. Again, my awareness of it comes from just absorbing information about it from first-hand accounts, not mine, but people's first-hand accounts. Animal Well, 2024. Wow, I'm glad I don't have to read that. Prey from 2017. Now, didn't play it, but I'm gonna pray it. No, sorry, that's no. I know the game has a very basically whoever plays the game and really they tend to really get into it, because it has this very flexible sort of interactable environment, and there's several endings, and the endings are kind of potentially vague and weird and kind of left to interpretation, so it's fun. And unfortunately, the story behind the game is somehow more dramatic than the game itself. Divinity Original Sin 2. Yeah, 2017. I never played it. I played the first one. But, unfortunately, there's way older RPGs, computer RPGs, that I want to cover, that I don't think get enough coverage in general, or also also games that I want to finish. So I don't know about ever getting to the original sins, but yeah, this was ginormous and should be noted, couldn't have existed without the games that came before it, and it is a big part of why Baldur's Gate 3 could happen, basically. Just because of the size that Larian got to throughout the years of developing the Divinities series and then the original sins, and the amount of capacity, experience, and also something that came up relatively recently, institutional knowledge that they have about both how to use this engine that they've been using, as well as how to design really cool CRPGs. So yeah, definitely this one, like one of the original sins, and probably this one, because this is the one that was massively popular and polished and whatnot, definitely has to be here. I'm glad it's not one of the older Divinity games, because I don't have a high opinion of the older ones. In fact, I actually have an unfinished script for the first one, Divine Divinity, and it's unfinished because I couldn't get myself to continue playing the game after a certain while. So if I ever get around to doing that, that's gonna be the theme of that video. Basically, it's like, game's not good enough to keep me interested, basically. Vampire Survivors 2022, me no care. Return of the Obra Dinn. Now, hear me this. I know this was popular and big and pretty good from what I understand. But maybe it's just the mystery aspect that really won people over, because otherwise, like, there's better, older, arguably cooler interactive narrative games out there. King of Dragon Pass comes to mind. But again, maybe it was just because of the sort of detective approach and the mystery aspect of the game. World of Warcraft. Yep. I got nothing on, like, I played Warcraft, I played WoW for a fair bit, and yeah, I still miss it. I don't miss the game, and this is something I feel people do not necessarily that they don't talk about it enough, but I don't think they properly frame or illustrate and describe it sufficiently well. I don't miss the game. I miss everything else around the game. I miss the theory crafting aspect of it, raiding, let's say, trying your best to gather particular drops, and of course, having a guild. That's what I miss about World of Warcraft, not the actual game. And that's kind of a point I try to make once in a while in some videos, but people don't watch the video for long enough to get there. I made a similar point in my GTA 2 video, where I go like, it's not good. The game is not fun. I remember the game being fun. And as I go through the video, I realize that, much like with WoW, it wasn't about the game. It was about what was happening around the game. It was about hanging out with some friends at someone's house and playing GTA 2 one after another, trying to do the wackiest, craziest shit, using random weapons on random stuff and seeing what happens, trying to get as much police attention as possible and seeing how long we survive. Like that had very little to do with the game itself. The game was maybe the catalyst for bonding, basically, and community building, like community building between, you know, friends and humans and acquaintances and stuff like that. But most people don't watch the video long enough to get the point. And even if they do, I don't know if they get the point. But, you know, it's hard. It's hard. YouTube's hard, man. Oh, why Skyrim? Like, we had Morrowind. We did not need fucking Skyrim. Like, it says the Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim. Which version of the 244 versions of Skyrim is this? Yeah, no, we don't need Skyrim. You have Morrowind. Morrowind is a good representative of the entire series. Skyrim isn't that completely. It's different, sure. It's an streamlined experience that looks better. Yeah, sure. Stellaris. Ooh, yeah. Now, talk about a recent, again, from my perspective, 2016, in the grand scheme of things, is recent. If you think about it, we've only really had video games, like video games in the house. We've only had home entertainment systems, let's say, video game systems, since the start of the 80s. There's not a lot of time. Not really. It's literally 50 years, give or take, 40, 50 years, let's say. So if you look at it, and you should, this gets obfuscated by a lot of stuff. When you look at it from the perspective of the timeline of chronology, we've only really had video games for like 40, tops 50 years, closer to 40. And that's very little when you compare it to other sort of similar entertainment/art formats or media, like, you know, movies, music, writing, that sort of stuff. We've had movies for at least 100 years. And, you know, music for longer, and writing for longer than that. You know, depending on how much you want to stretch it. So 2016, it's 8 years ago. So 2016 is basically 36 years after we started having video games, and we've only had them for like 45 years, let's say. So it's recent. In the grand scheme of the 50 years, let's say, tops, it's recent. But saying that, it's definitely such a massive game and phenomenon, and it has been going since 2016, which is quite a long length of time when you look at it from the perspective of one game. It has gone for so long, and it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, I started playing. I should have it. Give me a sec. Let me reopen Steam. Let me go to my library. Let's see, because I played it. I got it in a humble bundle, I think. Okay, so does it say? Yes, it says when I last played it. Give me a sec. Let me see if I can show you a little bit. We'll switch back. Yeah, there we go. I don't think you can see anything weird. You can't really. Yeah, I have like 35 euro cents. I've stopped buying stuff from Steam years ago. So the last time I played it was in 2018, and I had played 85 hours of it, and apparently had 20 achievements. So one of the reasons, I mean, the main reason why I stopped at 85 is because I was aware that if I don't stop, it's only gonna be Stellaris for me for the foreseeable future back then. And in 2018, I wanted to actually start covering more diverse games on the channel, and I realized that that's not gonna happen. That cannot happen. That's an impossibility of it happening if I continue playing Stellaris. And I haven't played Stellaris since then because I know who I am. I know myself very well. And it would be very easy and simple. It would be hella simple to just, play Stellaris and enjoy my time with it. I'll just get like the Star Trek, one of the Star Trek mods, and just play that for eons. But yeah, that's not something I want to do because I do want to cover all of these other different things. So, long way of saying, yeah, definitely Stellaris has to be on this list. It has proved it has the staying power to be on a list such as this. Counter-Strike DOS. I would think 1.5 is the thing, or CSGO. But it definitely needs one of them. Definitely need one of them to be on here. I mean, it's 2023, so it shouldn't. But probably back in my day, it was 1.5. Final Fantasy 14. Okay. Wait. This is the MMO, right? Isn't it an MMO? Isn't this the one that got a really botched release and then they apologized that they re-released it later on? And isn't that an MMO? Yeah, so 14 is the one that was botched. I mean, I guess, I don't know, it was never my thing. None of the fantasies. Fallout New Vegas on 33. Okay, I am surprised. First of all, that it's here, and second of all, that it's on 33. Now, I love New Vegas. I have a 2-hour plus mega video on it and its DLCs. Should definitely be on the list, obviously. Like everyone else, the Fallout TV show made me want to replay the Fallout games. No, Jody, not everyone else. Again, these people will be surprised how many people, and how many these many people actually are, that have been playing Fallout New Vegas, or even the older Fallouts, consistently. I think my buddy Randolph has, I mean, he definitely has hours in the game, probably hundreds of hours in the game that weren't tracked, but I would assume he's somewhere around 1,000 easy. So yeah. Oh, to my surprise, I didn't enjoy returning to the original. The way you could avoid so many fights with a high speed skill was groundbreaking at the time, but too often it just meant bad guys saying, for some reason, I believe you, then quest complete. What? This has to be the weirdest critique of the OG Fallout's super versatile conflict resolution system. But too often it just meant bad guys saying, for some reason, I believe you. Motherfucker, have you ever rolled a critical diplomacy check? Or a critical persuasion check? What? How does that phrase exist? Meanwhile, New Vegas includes a scene where your brain gets removed and replaced by a computer, and you have to talk it into returning to your skull. Because it's enjoying this brain breaks it, where it gets to stay in a jar that doesn't get shot at every 5 minutes, unlike your head, which does. So yeah, New Vegas is the Fallout I recommend playing today. Okay, so the reference here is one of the DLCs, Old World Blues, which is... It's not my favorite DLC, it's my second favorite DLC. Come to think of it. It doesn't mention that your brain is actually a dick. But I do in my mega video on it. So I don't know, Jody. It's this makes me understand you've never played tabletop RPGs, which, you know, is fine. It's really not fine, but that might be a gaming experience you may wanna experience. You know, just to get a more complete understanding of what it is that you're talking about. You know, for the future. Yakuza 0. Heard a lot about this. A lot about this series. Not really something I played, because again, I was generally associated with a console game, but I have heard a lot of people enjoy it, and if it's on PC, more power to them, I guess. What? It's StarCraft 2? Oh, these people are dumb. You people do not understand shit. You do not understand history or impact. Nothing compares to its constant juggle of macro and micro, triumph and panic, fear and glory. Yeah, it does. The original one, the first one, compares quite well, actually, if you think about it. Since this one has a 2 after the title. Rich. The sense of a true one-on-one matchup that tests every skill, you both have it, win or lose, always fair enough. It's odd. It may be because I am very much plugged into the StarCraft sort of world, and not into the, like in the ASL, not the GSL and stuff like that. But everything they say here actually applies to StarCraft, or, you know, could just as easily apply to StarCraft, not StarCraft 2. far as I'm concerned. Yeah, StarCraft 2 was cool, and it is cool, sure. It's the newer, flashier one. But the fact that the original is still being played and is still a big chunk of at least South Korean esports, although there's players in other parts of the world. Look, I'm glad a StarCraft is on the list. I was kind of hoping the first one would be here, not the second. Maybe the first one is later on. They are different, quote unquote. Halo, the Master Chief Collection. Halo is only big because it was big on consoles, on Xbox. And it did great on Xbox, which is fine. But having it on a PC gaming list, no. None of the Halos should be on a PC gaming list. It's just no, no. Place game Torment, sure. It's a very reedy for those, and it's dark. Not as entertaining, as fun entertaining, let's say, as the first two Fallouts, which had a fair bit of darkness to them, but there was also a fair bit of levity. This one doesn't have not a lot of that. But yeah, definitely, much more a PC game. Way more a PC game than anything that has Halo in front of it. Thief Gold. Yeah, the Thief series, and especially first one and second one. Shit, my headphones are dying. Give me a sec. Okay, we're back. Yeah, these were big and still are. I think Thief 2, I'm not sure if Thief 1, but I think Thief 2 still has a very active fan community. Or maybe it's the first Thief. I don't know. Alma talks to me about it all the time. And it's definitely, Thief is definitely on my list of stuff to cover that I would have played but never got around to. I don't know when I'll get to it, but maybe at a certain point. Definitely good to be on. It's definitely worth to be on the list. Hunt, what the fuck? Hunt Showdown, 1896. Since when does it have an 1896 behind? So, what? What have I been missing? Like the big Hunt Showdown sort of community? Because I have the game. I played the game back then. I used to play. A fair bit of Battle Royale, especially that one. I even forgot what it's the player something, whatever the fuck's name Battle Royale was. And after that, I tried playing Hunt Showdown. Great idea, fun idea, but what? I'm gonna call some bullshit on this one. Cause yeah, no. I don't know where or what they know. Yeah. Pizza Tower. 2023. Never heard of it. Which, again, makes sense. Crusader Kings 3 from 2020. Yes, I can skip it. Although I know the entire series seems to be cool and dope and whatnot. I guess it's gonna have a place on such a list, at least one of them. Portal. Yeah, I guess. Never played it. But, you know, it's definitely had a very big impact. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. It's 2019. So I guess it is old enough as far as I'm concerned to make it on the list. I don't know if it should. But again, not the type of stuff I play necessarily. Though I do remember it being very popular and a lot of people talking about it and streaming it and such. So maybe, I don't know. Hollow Knight. Yeah, we're gonna go with it. Fair enough. Yeah, it's either this and or Shovel Knight. Let's see. Alan Wake 2 from 2023. No, too new. Hades, again, too new. Although next year, maybe. It's got a lot of things going for it. I played it a bit, so I kind of get the idea. Yeah, but maybe later on, not now. Too early. Slay the Spire, yep, definitely. If there's one massive sort of card deck building roguelike light that really made it into the mainstream, this would be it, I think. So yeah. Okay, I am not gonna. If you're a Mass Effect fan, we're never gonna see eye to eye on this. So might as well just skip it. RimWorld from 2018. I'm vaguely familiar with this title, but I know nothing about it. I would have thought something like Factorio maybe should have made it to the list by now. We'll see. Oh, we got Dwarf Fortress. I mean, I guess. Although Dwarf Fortress is the entry cost to Dwarf Fortress. It's quite something. RDR2. Wait a minute. Did this come out on PC before the first one? I guess it did. I know people are like they're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs for this series, which I guess is good. I got nothing. It's way too new for me to give a shit. Also, never really cared about cowboys, like at all. Not my type of escapist fantasy. Like, yeah, sure. What's the fantasy here? Sleep in the dirt, and shit in the woods? No. Helldivers 2, way too new. This shouldn't be here. No. XCOM 2, 2016. It's a difficult choice. It says I had to fight to keep XCOM 2 this high on the list. I mean, I guess. I don't know. I didn't play this one. I only played the first something, the first Firaxis XCOM, and I enjoyed it. It was dope. I don't know if it's top 30, top 15, top 20 though. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's way bigger and much more poignant and important of a title than I'm giving it any sort of weight. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad it's here. It's turn-based tactics game, and I love those. But you know what's a better turn-based tactics game than fucking XCOM 2? Jagged Alliance 2. And there's, if anyone wants to argue against that, you can just not. There's no valid argument for XCOM 2 being better than Jagged Alliance 2. It's an astronomical impossibility, and I'll leave it at that. Total Warhammer 3, 2022. Sure, it's new, so it doesn't fit with my requirements. That said, there's a bunch of them that are older, so maybe one of the older ones could make it. I don't know. I've never played any of the Total War games, actually. So I can't really argue for it. Although I do want to play the first one. I've always wanted to play Shogun Total War, or Total War Shogun. I don't know how. I think it's Total War Shogun. But yeah, and look, if there's something to apply to the Total War series, yeah, Warhammer would definitely be that. Because yeah, Metal Gear Solid 3 from 2023. I'm confused. What? Is this like a remake? Aren't there like a shit ton of these games on console? Oh, okay, Unicom, so they can go fuck themselves. Okay, I get it. Okay, so Unicom says it came out on PC 20 years after the PS2 version, so it's a top 100 PC game. Yeah, just because. Oh my god, I can't believe we need to have this discussion. Just because it's on the platform PC doesn't necessarily make it a quote-unquote PC game. It's a game that runs on PC, but you know what else runs on PC? Emulation, motherfuckers. Do you speak it? So yeah, like Unicom says, yeah, this isn't a PC game. This is a console game. I think it's one of the best PS2 games. Like, I've heard about that, but not a PC game. Okay, we get Doom number 10, the OG Doom. We're gonna go with that. That's fine. OG Doom is fine. Wonder why it's not Doom 2, but whatever. Stardew Valley. Listen, kids. Like, I understand the appeal. However, there's entire decades of way more, I would argue, deeply interesting city builders that do not exist on the list at all. At least up until 9, with the exception of Frostpunk, which isn't a city builder, it's a survival city builder. It's a different thing. And we can go into the weeds of that. But again, no one's really interested in that rant. So I understand the sure. Now, my question is, is Stardew Valley that big of a PC game, or is it a really big mobile platform game that also happens to be on PC? Where are we on that? And I'm actually asking because I don't know which one is where. Oh, it came on mobile later. Okay, Unicom, thanks. My initial point remains though. Oh, I understand it's not a city builder. I'm making a different point. I'm making a point that there's no city builders. This is, yeah, I get it's one of those farmy thingies, which in my world, that's the closest thing to a city builder. Yeah, no, I'm not cool with this one. Maybe it should have been earlier. Maybe it should have been instead of fucking Spelunky. But you know. Balatro from 2024. Yeah, so see, this is why I don't want anything that's newer than 5 years. How can you put something in top 10 that was released this year? No. Half-Life 2, people love the Half-Lives. I will never understand it, but I accept it, that's fine. Witcher 3, again, very popular, people loved it. I didn't play it. I stopped caring about The Witcher after the second one. The distance of release between 2 and 3 was so ginormous. I lose interest, man. Like, no. It's the same thing with a story of ice and fire. Like, it's been, I've read the books up until whatever the fuck the last one is, but there's been so long between the last book and the not yet new book that I honestly don't care. Like, I get people who get like super into it and absorbed and whatnot, and they have staying power / obsessiveness. Fucking hell no. Persona 5 Royal 2022. No. Minecraft. Unfortunately, it's a ginormously important, impactful game. I never played 1 second of Minecraft. Nor do I ever want to play 1 second or more of the Minecraft. But look, if you enjoy it, more power to you. That's fine. Elden Ring. Oh, hey. I'll send you back earlier at the start of the stream when I was talking about who the fuck still talks about Elden Ring. No one. Nothing except these fuckers. Yeah, I still stand by that. Like, call me when was it? It was released in 2022. What's 5, 6? Yeah, in 2027. At the end of 2027. If people are still talking about this shit, I'll start sort of maybe giving it some amount of attention, but until then, no. Disco Elysium. Okay, I'm surprised to see Disco Elysium here. I'm happy to have it. Just make it into the list. I'm super surprised because despite it being popular, especially in, you know, Toki-Cheti RPG circles, it definitely sort of made it into some other spheres. Yeah, I'm glad it is. What I hope for it is that it continues to be actually to maybe increase in importance and be as important as it apparently is, although it's arguable. going forward. Because again, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines has been a long time ago. And it should have been not on 96. Number 1, Baldur's Gate 3. Oof. My guys, 2023, my guys and girls. Oh boy. Yeah, so personal picks. Yeah, recency bias much. I understand the game is good. I get that. I get people are into it and they streamed it and cosplay at it and they discuss stuff about which character they would want to fuck in real life or not in real life and whatnot. That's totally fan crazy shit. I'm on board with the sentiment. Having it as number 1 of the top 100 PC games is a clear travesty. Because again, timing. It has not had enough time. It has not sat around for long enough. But again, according to their scoring system, what matters most is what you thought about the game, which is fair enough. However, there is a hidden corollary there, that it's your opinion of the game is predicated on whether or not you actually played it, which means if you've never played, I don't know, 98% of other other RPGs or CRPGs out there, you can't really have an opinion on them. So as such, you are completely oblivious to what they have to offer. That said, another way of saying that is you don't know what you don't know is the hidden corollary of that. And that is kind of the definition of stupidness, more or less. So I'm not saying the game is not cool and great and whatnot. I'm just saying, first of all, it shouldn't have been, I repeat, anything older, anything newer than 5 years has no reason to be here. Anywho, look, enjoy it, play it, whatever. But, yeah, it's a bit of a farty end and with a not great beginning. Let's see. Personal favorites. Yeah, it just couldn't fit in the main list. Oh no. But remain near and dear to our editor's hearts. Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. My guy, this is not a PC game. Am I wrong? You wanna come? I mean, I guess you can play it now on PC, but what? Okay. This does not compute. Cult of the Lamb, way too new. Although also it's been done. Jagged Alliance 3. No, 2. Jagged Alliance 2 should have been on the list. There is no discussion as to why Jagged Alliance 2 is not on the list. This is another travesty. Replace Baldur's Gate 3 with Jagged Alliance 2 and I'm on board. Okay. Oh, Neverwinter Nights. Okay. So, wait, who? I don't know the order. So, it's the person above the image. Okay, so in this case, Evan Lati, Strategic Director, Neverwinter Nights. I approve. What are we? Huh? Neverwinter Nights. Oh, what's this? Oh, what? I just so happen to have these. Honestly, I just happen to have this. I am playing Neverwinter Nights. Let's see. Warhammer 40k Dawn of War. Yeah, Dawn of War 2 is inarguably the superior game in that entire series. But you're close, Ted. But no cigar. Jody McGregor, Dark Souls 3, you can fuck off. Sean Martin, Sims 4. I am wondering, yeah, none of the Sims made it, which is odd. But, you know, I'm not complaining about it because I'm not a big fan. But I know why people like it, so that's odd. Halo, again, nothing Halo on PC, no. Hades 2, way too new. Sayonara Wild Hearts, fuck heard of this. Although, I guess Harvey was trying to do the, like, edgy indie shit. The person below the picture, how? It's like right here is person above. See? This isn't a, this is just a picture. So recommended by blah blah blah, it's this. That's how I read this, at least. I don't want to read the text. Well, it says recommendation that didn't quite make the cut, but remain recommended by Fraser Brown. Oh shit, thank goodness you're here as a game. Okay, my bad. I just... How, like, I thought this was literally like, yeah, you made it. You read the entire thing. Fuck me. Okay, let's get back. Even Lati, close, but no, it's Jagged Alliance 2. Ted, never returned one, good. Jody, close, but no cigar again. You fucked up earlier as well, if I remember your name. Sean Martin, no, your opinion doesn't matter. Lauren Morton, yeah, again, I was curious about The Sims, why not? No Halo, thank you. No Hades 2, none of this shit. Shadow Gambit, The Cursed Crew, never heard of any of it. Bioshock, interesting to not have Bioshock on it, that's true. Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, we already have a Deep Rock, fine. Alpha Protocol, I know it's popular, sort of. Yeah, okay. So, finishing thoughts, but I have the strange feeling the finishing thoughts are gonna last longer than the not finishing thoughts. So, some of the first things. There's a bunch of games here that are not PC games. Just flat out not PC games. Just because they're on PC doesn't mean, you know, they started their lives on PC, or it doesn't even mean, like, you could argue, the argument could be done, Unicom, that something could be considered a PC game if, let's say, the experience, even if it started on a console, but on PC, it's a net superior experience. I don't think that's the case with the ones present here. So that's a bunch of them that, you know, shouldn't be here to begin with. Then there's the entire recency bias issue, and not necessarily the recency bias as much as you can't really grade a piece of art or even a piece of entertainment until time has passed. I mean, you can, of course you can. People do it all the time. However, there's this thing called you know, staying power and, you know, influence, and whether or not something has a life beyond its projected initial release life. And this is a much wider and deeper discussion that I sort of kind of plan on approaching at one point, maybe in a video, but it's gonna most likely gonna be, first of all, gonna be in a Game Chronicles with Unicom, where I want to make it sort of clear how 100% completion doesn't mean the game is done. The game may be done in as far as the experience it was supposed to offer is, maybe, although that's arguable as well. But you are not, the game experience doesn't end when the game ends. The game experience, a proper games experience, technically never ends. Because as time passes, even if nothing happens to the game, you change, hopefully you develop as a person, you improve as a person, your awareness and knowledge of things and yourself increases, and the way in which you see the game changes. The game is still the same. You are not. And it is my opinion that you can never really actually properly gauge a piece of art or even entertainment again until enough time has passed. And that enough time can vary. Because again, as I was saying, if the thing we're talking about is impactful and is important to, even if it's important just to you, you will think about that thing as you go through your life. And that's something you only truly, really begin to understand about yourself, especially as after some time passes. And for me, it was, kind of around when I got to around, 35 or so. When there's enough time behind you that you can put things into context and look at things through various other perspectives. And that's something that I've been noticing ever since I started pivoting towards retro. And it's one of the major reasons why I honestly and deeply have no interest in new games anymore, because they cannot tell anything. A new game won't tell me anything about myself that I don't already know. But me playing or replaying an old game, a game I played when I was 24 or when I was 14, that will definitely tell me something about myself that I didn't know. It's either or gonna tell me something about myself that I didn't know now, and it's most likely gonna tell me something about myself that I didn't know back then, but which I can understand now. So yeah, 100% reviews aren't complete is my point. And why time passing, the time vector, let's say, is by far a much more important characteristic or factor when you gauge or when you try to review things or analyze things. And why all of these things, most of these things, are basically bullshit. Okay, so that aside, recency bias, and for something that is ostensibly a PC gaming list, there is a lot of PC gaming stuff that's not on it. As per usual, the main culprit, no Heroes of Might and Magic. None of them. Not even nothing. No Heroes of Might and Magic. you know, nothing even adjacent. No fantasy generals, no Panzer generals, no Age of Wonders, Disciples, no. No actual adventure games, like not one Indiana Jones, people. No, really, no. Day of the Tentacle, no Green Fandango. No, The Longest Journey. Those don't. No, they're not replayable. They're not impactful. They're not. No, you just didn't play it. None of you assholes play those games because you're not actually PC gamers. You occasionally probably play some shit on PC, but you're not PC gamers. You haven't been exclusively PC gamers for 30 plus years, like myself and Unicom. No Need for Speeds. What am I missing, Unicom? Oh, of course, no actual city builders. So, you know, no Caesar 3. No, that wasn't important. Pharaoh. Who the fuck's Pharaoh? No Tycoons. Oh, yeah. So thanks, Unicom. No Tycoons. No, not the roller coaster. Not the train transport. No SimCity at all. So let alone no Caesar 3s or Pharaohs. Let me think. Of course, no Tetris, because who the fuck plays something from the 80s? Oh yeah, no flight simulators. You're right, Unicom. At least one, yeah, you're right. At least one of the Microsoft flight simulators, even if it was a token. But any flight sims, those were pretty big for a long time. They're not currently, but you know, there are some people who are playing that Elite Dangerous shit. Yeah, weak sauce. I mean, it's not as bad as the GQ one, but that's a low bar. Like that bar is in it's underground. That bar is so underground, only hipsters know about it. Pentiment? I understand it's a fun-ish new game, but you know, King of Dragon Pass is a thing. I mean, you don't know this because you don't play PC games actually. That's the thing. That's the thing. Why would you know of King of Dragon Pass? Or, you know, Nox, or Age of Decadence, which is a newer game. No, instead we'd get Dead Cells, which is fair enough, but you know, not really. Yeah. At the very least they had StarCraft 2, but again, I would argue between StarCraft 2 and StarCraft 1, StarCraft 1 is the one that had and still has the actual weight, the importance, the staying power, the influence, the fact that it basically spawned an entire industry. It's called esports. And yeah, people can argue that, oh, Quake was before. Yeah, sure, fair enough. But, you know, there's pioneers, and then there's the people that actually set shit up properly. StarCraft is the latter. Death Stranding, who gives a shit? Let's be honest there. Yeah. I mean, they had Baldur's Gate 2, which, you know, that can be like that represents most of the, or let's say all of the Infinity Engine stuff, I guess. And Diablo 2, those are Alien Isolation. those are nice. Titanfall 2 shouldn't have been here. Who gives a shit? Monster Hunter World, same. Who gives a shit? Yeah, this was so it's better than the GQ one, but it's super disjointed. I think they were going for like, ooh, let's make it, you know, super duper varied and shit, but it's much more of a disjointed experience. There's a couple of very surprising apparitions, surprising entities like Wildermyth, which I'm happy it's here, but there hasn't been enough. It needs way more time for Wildermyth to actually matter. Like, it could have been on the list of really cool top 100 RPGs from the past 5 years. I don't know if all games. I don't know if it's even all games, all PC games from the past 5 years, but definitely PC RPGs. Sure, it's up there. Yeah, no, kind of disappointed actually. Not necessarily, not in the GQ sense of it, just in the like, yeah. If there's anything that is the standout for me, is that these people do not actually play PC games. They play games that happen to be on PC but are mostly cross-platform. And you know, to their sort of defense, it doesn't say exclusively PC games, but come on, like, it's your outlet is called PC Gamer. You get me? You feeling me, Jeeves? Yeah, no, it's yeah. Tis weak. XCOM 2 here, maybe not here. Maybe earlier. This one's definitely not here. Yeah. So it's more of a disappointment. It's not even. It's not enough for me to be to even be angry about it. It's just, yeah. It's just dog shit mostly. But yeah, just well, if you're hey wacko, if you got some random questions for me, whether it's about this shit or other channel stuff, I'd be more than happy to answer. Welcome back, Scarlet, I guess. I don't know. Nah, yeah, I went through all of them through the bullshit as well, so it is what it is. Yeah. Weak sauce. Just weak sauce in general. Cannot be helped. Something that has to be said though is it is kind of hard / impossible to actually make anything close to a comprehensive sort of list, top 100 list at least, without at least some portions, some people not having their thing on there, which is understandable because you can't really satisfy everyone. However, the entire genres basically that are completely ignored, it just sucks, and it only makes it only makes me sad, but also understand why my channel isn't really growing because of the things I cover. Because if this, let's say, if this is the current awareness of what PC games actually are, then yeah, history started, I don't know, in 2011, I guess, more or less. And like I'm just gonna continue swimming in a sea of obscurity, not because the things I cover or the way in which I cover them doesn't appeal, just because I'm literally talking about things that people not only are not aware exist, but I don't think they're actually super duper interested in finding out. And that's the thing that actually hurts. Because I love history. That's just how I work and who I am. And I enjoy finding out stuff and new stuff about things I thought I knew. But I haven't found a large enough audience for I haven't found a large enough audience of people that feel the same way, basically, or at least for the same things I feel the same way. Because there's other channels that do actual history, well, not actual history, because what I do is history as well. It's just history in a particular domain, but ancient history or cooking history, that's popular, which, look, I watch a couple of those channels as well and I enjoy them. But yeah, it's just a bit, maybe a bit more disheartening than it should have been, Unicom. Not as fun. My take on it is not as fun, apparently. Well, hopefully you found some really good archaeology channel called Minute Man. I don't know which one. I don't know. I still enjoy watching Time Team. You can find them. Recorded off TV. And if you can't find them, let me know, because I can point you to some channels. But yeah, so I wanted to thank all of you who have been around and watching this, or are gonna watch this on VOD. I doubly, triply appreciate you. I wanted to finish it on a more fun sort of magoo, just because lately the internet's been pretty doom and gloom for very valid reasons, I may say. And I wanted to talk about something else and maybe have fun with it. But yeah, the implications of this top 100 is not something I'm looking forward to. But it's not like I'm gonna stop doing what I do, because I just, again, like I said, I love history, so I love doing it, and I love going back to those things and doing the research and replaying them and shit like that. So, but again, I should never really expect the channel to actually take off, which is true. I've been doing it for close to 10 years technically, so if it hasn't happened in 10 years, it's not gonna happen. But yeah, thanks for watching, and way more streams coming this next week, but it's likely gonna be gaming streams, most likely. Not a lot of stuff to react to anymore, hopefully, although December is coming up, so Not a lot of Christmas games. Or at least not a lot of Christmas games I played / care about. So there's a difference. Anywho, I've been Steven Nonsense. Thank you very much for watching and have a great rest of your day.